And welcome to another edition of the Big Knick Energy Podcast, episode number 23. Check out our sponsor first, Empire Original Designs at jointheempire.com, the East Coast #1 challenge coin manufacturer, home of challenge coins, lapels, pins, patches, keychains, bottle openers, and more. Mention our podcast, Big Knick Energy, via email for 5% off purchases. Once again, that's jointheempire.com. I'm your host, Joe Yolk, the Ball Kid Wonder. My co-host, Trey Deuce, a.k.a. Coach, a.k.a. the Deuce Man, every day delivers twice on Sunday, is actually out delivering mail, not here, and our very, very special guest. You can find her as a traffic reporter for the tri-state area on radio and TV. You can hear her on the Michael K. Show Monday through Friday, and occasionally does stand in as the traffic anchor on ABC in NYC for Channel I, Eyewitness News. Alex Lee, Alexandra, the former team captain of the College of Charleston swim team. How you doing, girl?
I mean, you made me sound a lot cooler than I actually am, so thank you. So it's great to be here. I got to say, this is my first podcast ever. So
really,
it's going to be a special night. Yeah.
Nice. Let's go. Of all the, you do so much media that's actually shocking this day and age.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Jill of all trades over here. But yeah, first podcast endeavor.
I like, I hope this actually, just so everyone knows, Alex's boyfriend is a Celtics fan. So I'm probably going to reference that to make fun of her / him a lot. How would he feel that your first thing is a Knick podcast?
He's just supportive.
That's the spirit
of anything. Yeah.
That's a great relationship right there.
Yes.
First off, I did try to do some research on you. I found your full name. I'm not going to put it on blast.
Thank you.
Apparently I found out on Twitter, there's a dude that actually posts every single female like media person's full name first and last, and he has no followers. And it is the creepiest thing. I do not recommend it.
You're going to have to send me this information after the show, because this is the first I'm hearing of this.
He actually should be reported, honestly. It was the weirdest thing. I could definitely show it to you afterwards.
You get plenty of those.
Are you on Twitter, though, or just Instagram?
I'm on everything. Alex Lee Media.
Alex Lee Media. I couldn't find you on Twitter. I should have probably done more than 10 minutes of research.
It's fine.
Real quick,
I like to be a little bit mysterious, which is, again, why I don't use my my full name. But
I appreciate that. You do know that there's a 26-year-old congressman out of California named Alex Lee that takes over all the Google searches, right?
Yeah, that has come to my attention. It's been very difficult to try and purchase the website domain as well. So
I could imagine that congressman versus news reporter in California versus New York is a battle that will never end.
Oh, God, yeah. Tale as old as time.
Oh, my God. Real quick, before we get into any Knick or NBA stuff, how did you actually get into sports media? Like, what was your journey from the College of Charleston to now?
Okay. Well, it's been an interesting one, and I feel like it's still going. I studied communication like a bunch of other folks, maybe not the smartest decision in college. There you go. It is.
I went to accounting afterwards, but I did start on communications.
Okay, so then you set yourself on track to make some money. Good for you. You're a smart man. And I kind of, this in with the traffic world of broadcasting kind of appeared, I won't want to say in my lap. It was some searching was involved, obviously, but that was, I always knew I wanted to do broadcasting. I wanted to be on the radio. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to talk, share my personality with the world. And I came across this job posting for traffic. There's a company owned by iHeartMedia. I work for iHeartMedia called Total Traffic and Weather Network. And I was like, all right, what is it?
Oh,
I've never heard of it. It's a national company. We're all over the United States. So I got to be there.
Huge, so.
Yeah. And started working as a traffic reporter, filling in here and there on the radio. Then this opening came for the Michael K. Show. Joe Nolan, everybody knows Joe Nolan, was working in the morning and the afternoon. And he's like, I don't really want to work that split shift. It's horrible. So he was going to give up the Michael K. Show opportunity. And I'd filled in for him here and there as a traffic reporter during their show. So it was just kind of like a right place, right time situation.
That's awesome.
To doing that full time, picked up a couple of other stations across the tri-state area. So I could hear me in Connecticut, the Hudson Valley, Long Island, New Jersey, the city. And then from there, kind of made my way into the television world. So
that's awesome. When you say that he gave up the split shift, is that supposed to be from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m.? Is that the whole morning and then into the afternoon, or?
Good question. So split shift is when you have to work, technically morning drive, when people are on the road is
right.
they call it like from anywhere from 5 a.m. to 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. So he was working from 5 a.m. to noon and then coming back and working from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. for PM drive. And he was like, that's crazy.
Oh, God bless him. Oh, my God.
So, yeah. And he did that for many years. And he was on ABC at one point too, doing the early morning TV shift. So it was just a lot. And he was like, I think I've earned my right to kind of take a step back and not be working at all hours of the day. And so that was good for me because I love the guys, Michael Kay and Don LaGreca and Peter Rosenberg are three of the greatest guys you'll ever meet. What you see is what you get. I mean, obviously it's radio. They're going to
Rosenberg's my hero for this reason alone.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Ball Guys Club. He's the best. You know, I have to say, like, full disclosure, when I first went over there to meet everybody, when I was becoming their official traffic reporter, I obviously knew who Michael Kay was as a Yankee fan. He's the announcer for the Yankees for decades. Wasn't super familiar with Don. I love Don. He's a fellow Jersey boy. But I was fangirling so hard about Peter Rosenberg. I was like, yes, Hot 97. I'm like, I listen to you every morning driving to school, like forever. And now I'm like meeting you in real life and we're going to work together. And he's just awesome. I love him.
Talk about a Jill or jack of all trades. That man does literally everything in media.
It's like freaking Rosenberg and Ryan Seacrest have all the jobs in the world.
Ryan Seacrest, I feel like, did it more on looks. Rosenberg was like just got a crazy niche for everything he does.
Oh, yeah. He's so smart, too. He knows. And people rag on him, I know. Like, oh, he doesn't know about sports, but that's so false.
You can only know so much about so many things also.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he is even, you know, more so cut out for this world than others because he knows a little bit about a lot.
Yeah.
He can have a conversation with him over a myriad of things, which is, I think, a better skill to have.
I agree, especially if you're doing media, because he gets all different types of guests, which I'm sure you've also gone into as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Who is the craziest guest that you've had so far on anything you've done, or who did you also fangirl on when you see them like on the newscast or anything?
Well, I have to say, I mean, I was not in the city the day that they had Larry David in studio a couple years ago, and I'm a huge Larry David fan, huge Curb fan. I was in there the next day. So I don't actually work out at the studio with them. I'm in Jersey, but then like every once in a while I'll go in there and I'll work with them and we'll go on Yes and do the whole thing. And nobody told me. If they had told me, I would have switched today. Yeah. I find out that, like, you know, as I'm sitting there at work and I'm like, are you kidding me? That, like, talk about misconnections. Let me see, craziest person. I mean, I have gotten to interview a couple of cool people. I have to say the one that comes to mind, I think he's just so great, is Grant Marshall. He's like the Devils.
Oh, sick.
He is a character. He's nuts and he's hysterical and he's just like so high energy all over the place. And
most hockey guys are, I feel like. It takes a certain type of crazy and charisma to do that.
Been hit in the head a couple of times, I'm sure. So a
couple hundred.
Yeah. But he was a cool guy. Cool guy to meet.
Oh my God, that's so sick. I know. So you said you're from Jersey. Obviously, you're a Devils fan. Your football team, though, might confuse some people that aren't familiar with New York, like America geography. Jersey and Philadelphia are really close. So how did you actually become an Eagles fan?
I was born into an Eagles family. My mom's from Philly. My dad kind of was not really loyal to any team when they met, and she kind of beat the Eagles fandom into him. Obviously, that's how Eagles fans are. They're very aggressive. You don't really have a choice.
All Philadelphia fans are.
Yeah, she was like, we're going to get married and you're going to be Eagles fan. But yeah, Philadelphia in general. So I was born, I mean, there's pictures of me as an infant in like full Eagles garb. So that's, I mean, misery loves company, I guess, man. Like we finally won our Super Bowl a couple of years ago, but feels good now. But it was. Won your
Super Bowl, their backup quarterback, and then ditched the first guy. That is crazy. Ditched both.
I know, what a mess. And now he's hurt again. Can we even? I mean,
who's surprised?
Poor guy. No.
And then you're also a Yankee fan, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get to the connection with Michael Kay? Because that might have been like an ultimate experience for you just initially. How did that happen?
Like I said, through the traffic world. So that's kind of been my shoe in the door to broadcasting. And while, you know, nobody really, and I don't think wakes up every morning or one morning as a kid and like, I want to be a traffic reporter. It's my dream job. But I just have taken it and run with it. And I've gotten to meet some cool people. And that got me to the Michael Kay show. And, you know,
who was like the connector person? Was it Nolan or was it someone else that got you there?
No, it was somebody through iHeart. It was like, you know, the big wigs and that wear the suits and do all the programming and the important stuff and make the money.
That is awesome. Hey, iHeartRadio, if you guys are hiring, I mean,
Yeah.
And then about the so you did swimming throughout most of your life in college. Do you
Mm-hmm.
still like ever swim competitively, anything, or that kind of died after college?
Absolutely not. There's no shot I'll be squeezing my body into a tight bathing suit anytime soon. I don't know how I did it for so many years. It's a very uncomfortable thing to do, and it's just crazy. I mean, it takes like a full team of people to get into these racing suits. It's a very underrated sport, and I know I'm biased, but it's some serious stuff, swimming.
How old were you when you got into swimming? And then also, did you do any other sports or try for anything else as growing up as a kid?
Well, I mean, my father can't swim to save his life. My mom swam, here and there growing up. Yeah, my dad just to this day won't go near the ocean if we're at the beach because he's afraid. I'm like, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna drown.
And he's from Jersey?
Yeah.
What?
Crazy. He's weird. I love him, but he's a wacko. So they were at a friend's pool when I was first born, and he's standing there in the pool holding me. He doesn't realize it's one of those pools with the ground kind of like it gets deeper. So he lost his footing, freaked out, dropped me, this infant, trying to save himself. My mom is like fully dressed with a drink in her hand, has to dive in and save me. And she's like, she's going in swim lessons tomorrow. So I started swimming from when I was 6 months old and got into it in the team aspect probably when I was 5 or 6, and then just kind of took off from there. And to answer your next question, I tried a lot of other sports. Was I halfway decent? No. I have zero hand-eye coordination. I'm an athletic person. I love working out. I try to work out every single day. It's something that's been ingrained into me as an athlete. But I played volleyball in high school for a little bit. Tried soccer, softball. It just it wasn't there for me. I hated running, so that was a big issue too. A lot of sports you have to run.
I'm worried whenever someone tells me they actually enjoy running. I'm like, are you okay? Yeah. Do you need like therapy or something?
You're definitely psychotic. So
I know you mentioned you did try volleyball. How tall are you?
I am 5'7".
You're like a decent height for women's volleyball, honestly. I mean, it could have worked.
Fully average height.
Yeah. Just because the only reason I'm going to correct you there is because I know this because I've done a lot of research. Maybe in America it's different. The average height for a male in the world is 5'8", and I only know that because I'm exactly 5'8". And the average height for females is 5'3", and I only remembered that because my girlfriend is exactly 5'3".
Oh,
this is worldwide though. Maybe America's taller. I don't know. So you're taller than average, girl. Don't downplay yourself.
I'm above average. That's great.
Can't really 4.5 inches on the normal person.
5'3", that feels so short. And 5'8", I mean, for all the short guys out there, I guess that's cool standard to have. But
the guy that's not on camera, Vin, our producer, is like 6'4". So I mean,
oh my god,
and we're like best friends. We've been best friends since we were 13 years old. So when we first met, I was already looking up.
That's cute.
Oh my god, yeah, it's a good time. Also, Vin's a beautiful man to never be on camera. It blows my mind.
Wow.
Going back to the sports in New York City thing. I know you're a Yankee fan. I'm a Met fan. How rough has it been for us in baseball this year? The past 2 months has been rough specifically.
It has been. I mean,
what's like the pulse of the city?
I don't even have I feel like you can't really even have emotions because it's not something that's new. But I will say I was at the Yankee game on Tuesday night. And it was fun. I mean, obviously they won by a lot, and it was the energy was great, but it's just the inconsistency is so frustrating, I think. And I think Mets and Yankees fans can agree on that.
Very recently, yes, for sure. I don't want to get you in trouble with the Yes Network or Michael Kay or anything, but do you like Aaron Boone as the manager? You don't honestly, your face and the sigh said enough. So if you don't want to express anything, got it.
I mean, I find it so funny. I mean, look at the Eagles, for example. It's different. It's a different sport. It's a different team. But it's when anything goes wrong, it's okay, the fish stinks from the head. Doug Peterson got the cut. So it's
who won you guys a Super Bowl, which still blows my mind.
I know the whole thing was a mess. I mean, Carson is the Colts' problem now, but I do feel for Doug Peterson. I mean, I loved him.
Yeah,
another Jersey boy right there, but. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I said, the fish stinks from the head. So, it's you got to make these changes. It's gotta be done. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen.
Do you listen to any other sports podcasts or anything? Have you heard of Bill Simmons before? He's one of the biggest ones in America. If not,
I've heard of him. I have not listened to his podcast. No.
It's okay. One time, it was a few years back, he interviewed Theo Epstein. So obviously Theo Epstein, we all know who he is, the former GM of the Cubs and Red Sox and all that, won titles with both of them. And even he, who's one of the best GMs in recent baseball history, is like, if you're with a team for more than 10 years, like you personally need a change. So also to follow up with the Aaron Boone thing, how do you feel about Brian Cashman? As a Met fan, I feel like he's honestly been there too long. Like sooner or later, you got to try something new.
Well, yeah, there's some validity to that for sure, because I mean, just like in any profession, like where is the growth? You know, you got to move up. Like it can't just be a lateral, you know? So sometimes you have to shake things up, especially if it's not working out, you know, nothing against the guy personally, but they got to take the wool out from over their eyes and make these moves.
Sooner or later, right?
Yeah.
You can always, especially in Yankee world, there is no better luck next year. It's this year or no year.
Yeah.
To jump into a quick Knick question, who is your favorite Knick right now? Whether you met them or like them play, either one. Which is it, and what's the reason?
Right now, I mean, I would need to see a roster. Like, I don't know if Vin told you this, but I don't really follow basketball. I hate to say that I'm on a Knicks basketball podcast. It's the one sport I never tried, even with my above average height. I will say I was really into wanting to get behind the Knicks when they drafted Kristaps. That T-shirt, that was a bust. And then I was like, I don't know. I don't know enough about basketball. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know enough about basketball, but this isn't it. I like the games. I like going to the games because it's always high energy. They're short, they're quick. It's the opposite of a baseball game. But
yes, 2.5 hours, really, you're out of there.
I know. Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's really something to think about if, you know, maybe I do want to pick up basketball as a pastime for watching. But yeah,
I mean, just don't become a Celtics fan, no matter what your boyfriend says. Just don't do it.
No,
you live in the New York City area, just like.
I know, and he's a Celtics fan, a Yankee fan, and an Eagles fan. So, I mean, you'll have to ask him.
Eagles fan, or was he an Eagles fan prior?
When we both met, we were both separately Eagles fans, which is lucky for us.
He's such an odd combo of teams, though.
He really is. It all goes back to former play. He's a big college football fan, so it goes back to people who, you know, were in, like, college teams who then were on the Eagles, or even coaches and all of that. I don't really know the Celtics thing. It doesn't make sense. I mean, I just would never root for anybody from Boston personally as a Yankee fan, but
I'm a Jets fan, so while I don't cheer for the Yankees, I have the same sense. Anyone from the New England area, I'm like,
oh, I know.
The worst part is that because I live in Connecticut right now, I'm from New York, where Ben is from originally. So Connecticut's just like this weird no man's land of it's not quite New York and it's not quite, it's like New England, but like you're not really close to most of New England. So to like live along a line where like half the people, like there are so many Yankees Patriots fans, and I'm like, you're like the worst version of a front runner to me. I just it hurts.
Yeah,
it hurts.
That's like, how does that make sense? You're just a walking contradiction at that point. Not New England, but you're a Patriots fan, but then you're not New York, but how can you be a New York fan and a New England fan? It's so true. But I mean, you guys are kind of like, nobody's claiming you over there in Connecticut, so I guess it's going to be whack, whatever goes on in there.
Yeah, it's been a long time since the Hartford Whalers were here. That's for sure. I know you're not like the deepest into basketball or the NBA or anything like that, but what was it like? Because since you're born and raised in Jersey, when the Nets actually moved to Brooklyn, like, did anyone around you care? Was there any real reaction?
Yeah, and I'm thinking about that now. I definitely, as a child, was taken to basketball games when they were playing in New Jersey.
Jason Kidd was dope. Kerry Kittles. I mean, they had like good teams back then when you were a kid.
It was. I mean, there's like living legends, obviously. You know, Patrick Ewing. Like, I know. It's just, I don't know. I feel like sports, for the most part, I mean, you can make this argument, aren't like the athletes today aren't what they were, and it's like vice versa too. Like, obviously that they're doing way more incredible, like posting more incredible numbers and stuff. But when they went to Brooklyn, yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a big deal. I was definitely too young. I'm only 30 years old.
I turned 30 in a week, or like 6 days or something. What's today's date? I turned 30 in 5 days.
Wow, happy early birthday!
Thank you. I also thought you were younger than me. I did not know. So.
Oh, that's nice.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I feel like everyone thinks I'm a lot older than I am, so that's good. When the Knicks went to Brooklyn, yeah, I do. I feel like I have just very vague recollections of that happening. Like I do remember going to basketball games in New Jersey and being like, well, they're in Brooklyn, so we're not going there anymore. It's like another
Right.
country for all we're concerned about in Jersey.
To travel
Even
to
going
any
to
of
the
the
Bronx
five
for the
boroughs
Yankee
is so
games,
hard.
like, I know. I'm a traffic reporter.
Yeah, exactly. More than anyone else. You don't even need to be a traffic reporter to be like, I have to drive through the city. That's terrible. That's it. That's the whole.
I know. Yeah. Everything sucks. Like the George Washington Bridge, the Cross Bronx, the BQE, the LIE, like everybody knows. It's like,
Is the George Washington Bridge the worst? Or is I would say the George Washington Bridge or the LIE are the two worst I've ever gone on. I've gone on most of them, but like, what is the worst bridge that you have to cover consistently?
Definitely the George Washington Bridge.
Yeah.
It's just like, for whatever reason, anytime something happens there, it just completely debilitates everything.
And just so people that aren't from New York know, can you explain just how many lanes there are and how big it actually is for there to still be traffic?
It's huge. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if there's like a traffic engineer who would be able to explain that. It makes no sense. I mean, the infrastructure of the tri-state area roads makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's just, as soon as something happens, everybody shuts down, and then you feel immediately at the Lincoln Tunnel and then the Holland Tunnel, and it's just always a shit show. I don't know how to curse.
What's the one bridge that goes to Queens that there's the little side part that you go on and you feel like your car is literally gonna like crash or fall off the bridge?
Oh, well, that could be a few. Like all these East River crossings have like the outer roadways, so like the Queensboro Bridge, and it's just like, yeah, it's like taking your life into your hands experience.
It's like driving on the Italian Job.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's literally how I feel. I'm like, I should be in a Mini Cooper right now, or like a Beetle. I'm like gonna fall off. So when you work, you usually work in Jersey, but how often do you say you go to New York City?
Excuse me. So I am well, right now it's just, obviously I'm doing everything that's radio related from home.
Okay.
When I do television, I do drive into the city at 2:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning. Yeah. I won't say where, I live very close to the Hudson River. So it's very easy for me to bop right over, and
easier to cross the bridges at 2 a.m. too.
Exactly. You know, that's the bet. You want to go into the city from New Jersey, best time to do it is at 2:00 in the morning. I mean, who wants to be awake then? Nobody. But so I really don't mind doing that at all. The worst part about that is like is when the alarm goes off, but it's nice, and it's not every day. I don't know how, if I did it every day, I would need to move to Manhattan, because there's no way. But right. The radio stuff, it's obviously it's boring. I'm sitting here, I'm talking to nobody. It's all pre-recorded. Surprise. People are like, why are you being nice when Michael's talking to you? I'm like, I don't know what he's saying. It's pre-recorded. I'm sorry. I'm home. I'm working from home, just like you are during COVID. So it's getting a little old, but I'll take it for now, because it's been
a year and change ago. Forget a little old. It's so old at this point.
It is very old, yeah. But it's like I still get to go into the city and be around civilization and people a couple of mornings a month. So I'm pretty lucky, I think.
That's not too bad that you get to do a lot of it from home, but also get interaction. To circumvent that back to a little basketball content, the reason I asked that was, how many Nets fans do you actually see? Is it like 10% Knicks to Nets, or like 15%? Like, I've only met 2 in my whole life.
Yeah, no, mostly Knicks. I don't know what it is about the Nets. It's not that they haven't had the potential. I mean, they've been better than the Knicks in years past.
They're way better right now.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if like maybe moving from New Jersey to Brooklyn at like a pivotal time. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I don't think anybody wants to associate with them for whatever reason. Even
when they're the best player, I don't understand either, honestly.
But it's refreshing that you don't get those bandwagon fans, because you hate the bandwagon fans. Oh, they're good. I'm going to be a Nets fan now.
This is true. That for some reason, of all the sports teams that exist in this area, I feel like the Nets don't get bandwagoners.
Oh, they don't even get the bandwagon fans.
I know.
They're like Connecticut.
Exactly. Why am I here?
People from Connecticut to just be Nets fans, because they don't have a home. They don't have a home.
I feel like if it was easier to get from Connecticut to Brooklyn, like if the Nets became like the Long Island Nets and you could just take the ferry from Bridgeport to Port Jeff, they might have a thing there, but it's so hard to get to Brooklyn from here.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to the Bronx is easy, but anything past that, you're screwed, honestly.
Yeah, it's a voyage.
I should have known that you were, because of all your media skill set, we were going to actually talk more about traffic than anything else.
I don't even want. It's like not like I just talked about that all night.
Just programming.
So feel free to. Yeah, I can't control it. Just feel free to steer me in another direction.
I will right now. You did the NBA draft this past year, right? Or you at least went there?
I was there. I was there as a spectator. It was very fun to watch.
No, is it? Because that's the thing. It's like, one, you said you're not that into basketball, and then two, a draft is in like boring. You read names on a screen and you see people walk up. Like, how fun is it actually to go there just as a pure spectator?
Let me backpedal for a second. It was the first like live something related to sports that I'd been to in
that makes sense.
A very long time. It was great to be back. I mean, was it fun going to Brooklyn? No, it was very nice to like, go somewhere and you were going to watch, like a draft. I've never seen a draft. Obviously I watched the draft on television for the NFL every year, but it was
talk about a draft that's
cool.
too long. That's 3 days.
Yeah, I know. Like it's just extra, like the NFL. But yeah. I think that it was, I don't know, from the media standpoint too, I was very also interested. I was like, I was watching, I saw the tables down there where they're sitting with the families and they got called up and you're like, oh, where are they coming from? And they made their trek, they shook Adam Silver's hand, they, whatever, they took their pictures. And then there was the first stop, the first media stop. And then you watch, it's like a little radio row or like television row. And right. They made the second stop. And I'm just like such a nerd. I'm like, I was like just trailing these people as they're going stop to stop. I'm like, that's just so cool. And then they had the girl asking them the fluff questions. And then they went to set at another table. And then you had this broadcast going on up top. And it was like, for me, that was cool too. It was just a lot going on. I was around sports again for the first time. Because yeah, Tuesday night was the first Yankee game I'd been to all year. And obviously we weren't going to the Yankee game last year. So I had too many weddings to go to this year. So I didn't get to do anything I actually wanted to do, like go to
sporting
events.
Based on our age, all of our friends that were going to get married in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Ben knows.
I was like, this couldn't have come at a worse time. Like I had to not go to any sporting events for a year. And now I can't go to any this year because all of you are getting married every single weekend.
There's like six weddings, one every other week for like 3 months. And you're like, where am I?
You're like, where's my money? Where do I live? I'm always traveling. I'm living out of a bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why I made the trek. Normally I would make a trek on a Tuesday to the Bronx for a Yankee game. But I'm like, you know what? I need to go because otherwise I'm not going to go to a Yankee game. And it was a great game to go to.
There we go. They won and they might not have the playoffs. So, I mean, if they still have a chance though. So I know you're obviously rooting for them. If they make it, are you going to go to a couple games?
I would like to. We'll see. I got to check. I mean, that depends on my schedule. I have so much going on all the time with my 17 jobs that I'm.
Do you wake up at 2 a.m. every day?
No.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, no. And if I don't have to wake up at 2 a.m., I will sleep in. People probably just assume that I'm up early. And I'm like, if I don't, like, I'm either waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning or I am waking up like at 9 a.m. because I don't work if I'm difference. Not. Yeah. And I'm like, I just feel personally like if I don't have to be up super early, then I deserve to sleep in. So,
yeah.
Sometimes I'm up and I'm doing stuff at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. But like if I can sleep till like 9 or 10, I'm doing it because I don't have to work then in the afternoon until 2 for radio. So
I hear that, girl. Sleep in. You need to use some time sometimes,
Oh, yeah.
Going back to the draft, I was going to ask 2 separate questions, kind of similar idea. One, do you remember the player or the team that got I would say the Knicks probably got the biggest cheer, but do you remember the player that got the loudest cheer there?
The player that got the loudest cheer.
Was it like the first pick or was, no, I'm literally asking you.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think it was the first pick.
No one cares about Cade Cunningham. You heard it here first.
I was very interested in the Australian guy.
Josh Giddey.
Yes.
Nice. Also, he has a dope name. Who doesn't want to be Giddey?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even, maybe this is like ignorant of me to even be admitting. I wasn't aware of like the large presence of basketball in Australia, but I guess they've got some good ballers out of Australia.
They're a pretty good league. Ben Simmons is from Australia. I mean,
is he?
He is Australian. Yeah.
There we go.
I don't know if I should admit this part. Actually, before I admit this part, since you're a millennial as well, and you're also on the news, do you actually pay for cable or have cable?
Yes, we do. We pay for everything. We have Red Zone. We have all the premium everything because we're big TV and movie watchers in this house.
That's fair. If you
before
weren't
we
on
lived
TV,
together,
do you
I
think
did
you would
not.
stream everything?
100%. And it's not even because I'm on TV. I don't watch the news. And when I'm there and it's shoved in my ear for however many hours, I'm listening. But if I'm at home, I'm not there. I have no, I get my news from Twitter, I hate to say now, I learn a lot of stuff on TikTok. I don't participate in TikTok. I watch in a very intrigued manner. It's like the Wild West over there. But yeah, yeah. I didn't do cable before we lived together. I was like completely content with streaming, but it's nice. Everybody had cable growing up and then kind of got away from that. I'm like, maybe we're spoiled, but we do the streaming and I do the cable too. And I have everything.
There you go. I mean, like, I don't know if you do the same thing as me, especially on football Sunday. You have like Red Zone on the big screen. You have your laptop have a game. You have like your Yahoo does free games for
multiple screens. Gotta love Red Zone. Our neighbors next door just got it, and it's so funny. They must not have known that we had it. And I ran into the woman who lives next door to me, and she's like, "Oh my God, we just got Red Zone. What a life-changing experience." She was like, "It's so much easier to watch football now." And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "If you ever want to come over," I'm like, "We have it."
You're like, where have you been the past decade?
It's so true. And obviously the Eagles game wasn't really there. It was kind of hard to watch last weekend, but for the most part, it's kind of a life changer.
Especially if you haven't watched. I mean, I've had it for so long now. So have you probably at this point that it's just in our heads. But I can only imagine to be just finding it now. How excited!
Oh my God, I know. Yeah.
The follow-up point to that was that I'm going to be honest with you. I don't watch you on the news because I don't watch the news as a millennial. Don't have cable.
I would be asleep, like I said, if I wasn't working. So exactly. No offense taken.
But even if I didn't know that Ben Simmons, just from Basketball Knowledge, was from Australia, when I stream stuff, some of it comes from an Australian website, and he's on so many commercials. He shows up all of the time because he's like their main Australian
They're like, this
star.
is our biggest claim to fame.
This is it. That's America. Great. Yeah, this is
our guy. Yeah. He made it. Oh, I love that. No, it's cute. I think it's great. It's almost like a little bit, this is just me, like as an athlete, the kind of mindset. I'm like, it's amazing for all those guys who were drafted to the NBA, but to come from another country, because it's such an amazing honor in this country, just to come from another country, I'm like, that's just got to feel like doubly as cool. Like, not only did you make it, but you like are in America and you are like right up there with all the people who are like born and raised here and played here their whole life. And
yeah. I mean, to be the best in any country, I wish I could go to Antarctica for a day so I could say I'm the best at everything there.
Yeah, exactly.
I had another, so of this, I was getting towards the end. I'm almost out of questions. Are you down to play a game?
I'm always down to play a game.
Let's go. That's the spirit. So it's called Truth or Selfie. We've done it a couple times.
Selfie?
Truth or Selfie. So the way it works, I'm going to ask you, I have two in my head. I'll try to think of a third by the end of it. I'm going to ask you two questions. And the two things you can do is one, answer it honestly, or two, you have to send us a selfie and we post it on the Big Knick Energy Instagram. It doesn't have to be an actual selfie. You can literally like one of the dudes that we did it with before, he actually sent us a childhood pic that he thought was really funny. So it was just like
something embarrassing,
something semi-embarrassing that's not already on your page.
Okay.
Hopefully nothing that don't jeopardize your career or anything crazy, obviously.
I wouldn't do that.
Are you ready though?
I'm ready.
First question. Who has better hair between you and Michael K?
Me.
sorry,
Michael, I love you.
Yeah, geez. I'm sorry, Michael.
If you would have asked me or Don,
that was the follow-up. What about you and Don?
100% Don.
Don LaGreca has gorgeous hair. What is he? 50-something, 60-something?
Yeah, he's in his 50s, and now it's like he got that quarantine hair in full effect. That he's just got the lettuce.
He grew like a majestic, like hockey mullet almost. He has
wild. Exactly. He has like a full mane, and I love it. I'm jealous. I need to ask what kind of hair products he's using.
Yeah, you could use none. I mean, two ball jokes, one podcast. Nailed it. If Frank was here right now, he would be so mad.
Oh, is he a hater?
Yeah, I mean, him and Vin both have luxurious hair, so I have to throw it in as much as possible. It's like it's like a self diss through their joy.
Hey, Larry David is a big I'm cannot
self-depreciative
word right
humor
now.
is what he does a
Yes.
lot.
And he's a big, supporter of the bald community. It's all over Curb. It's always comes into an episode of his support for.
I'm
for
not
the
gonna
bald
lie,
guys.
if I grew hair out, it would look like that. That's why I shaved, though. I can't believe he does the Einstein.
I know. Well, it's kind of his whole shtick. Like, he's just a whack.
All right, so yeah, are you ready for the second question?
Go
This
ahead.
one might be a little bit harder for you to answer because I might be ruffling some college feathers for you. Was there anyone on your college swim team who was your least favorite person on your college swim team, a fellow athlete or coach?
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't even care anymore. I hated my head coach. He was horrible. I'm done. Oh my God. He was like,
he named you team captain though. What?
No, the team voted me. But I guess, yeah, he had the final say. We were kids at the end of the day. But he, oh my God, I don't know what he thought he was doing, but it was not motivating. When I tell you, oh my God, I'm going right to hell. But this man was so overweight that he couldn't stand for an entire practice. He'd have to pull up like a folding chair to sit. But and that's fine. I'm not that isn't about a weight thing. But would call me and other girls into his office and say, you've gained a noticeable amount of weight. You need to
watch
what you're eating. What? And I'm just like, this is a little bit of pot kettle here. Even if I did give my freshman 15, first of all, who doesn't? And second of all, I'm working out 3 times a day, 6 days a week. I'm gonna eat a little bit, and it's fuel. Like,
I'm convinced the freshman 15 comes from every college having terrible food. By the way, the
100%.
cafeteria
I'm like,
for colleges
is
just straight trans fat.
It's a disgrace. Yeah. So, and the kicker is, whenever we would travel for meets, we'd get on the bus, and our choices of food would be either we'd stop at the Golden Corral, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Golden Corral. Kind of a Southern thing. I have seen commercials for it up here.
A very unhealthy buffet style for anyone that doesn't.
Yes. But he'd say, but we're going to the Golden Corral, but nobody can go to the dessert buffet. I'm like, because that's really going to make a difference. Or we would have to stop at Papa John's, and you would split a pizza with your seatmate because it's 2 to a row on a. And I'm like, this is so healthy.
Also, how would that give you guys any good motivation or like fuel to swim right afterwards? This was on the way to meets.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry if this is TMI, but he'd be freaking out like when we would arrive at wherever we were traveling to swim, and he's like, "Where is everybody? Why are you taking so?" I'm like, "We're all in the bathroom."
Yeah.
Because you made us eat Golden Corral before we came and raced.
Wow.
And squeezed into these tiny suits.
That's why you needed a team of people. You had to get it on each other.
Exactly. I'm like, we're all trying to squeeze each other into these bathing suits and sweating while doing so. Yeah, he was, him and I didn't get along so well. I loved my assistant coach, though. He was from Turkey. He's just such a funny guy. He was like learning English as we grew up together the 4 years. And we learned a little bit of Turkish. I can actually count to 4 in Turkish. And
go ahead, do it for the fans. I like it.
Bir, iki, üç, dört.
Their first word is beer. I should be Turkish. That's
right.
Awesome.
I know. It's inspiring. It's inspiring stuff. But he was great. He was super motivating, and I think a huge contributing factor to me finally doing very well. I kind of plateaued a little bit, but my senior year I just went out with a bang, and it was like, this is a good way to end, and I'm never going to swim again, probably. So
there you go. I mean, it sounds like your head coach scarred you for life more than anything else.
Oh yeah, he did. Still get nightmares.
I actually couldn't think of another good truth or selfie question, but I do have another good question that you'll just be more willing to answer.
Okay.
Although you were just pretty willing to throw your head coach under the bus, so I don't know. What is your actual dream job? Like, if you think you get to the top of blank media mountain, where are you at?
It's so funny. This is such a loaded question for me because people ask me all the time, because I'm in such a transitional phase, I think, of my career where I'm very grateful for where I am and, where it's gotten me. But I definitely have hit the point where I don't, it's time to make a move. So that being said, I feel like it's kind of evolving for me every day. And I don't see myself in a niche of one sector of broadcasting. I don't see myself going full sports. I don't see myself staying full traffic. I don't see myself doing full on news.
The look you just gave for full traffic has got to be scream captured by somebody.
Oh gosh. Well, I can't throw any disrespect because again, it was my shoe in the door, but I'm ready to move on. And I think that's, I don't think that's a negative thing. I think that just says that, I've felt like I've done all I can do in this realm. I'm ready for more. So I mean, I love like I said, I'm like I watch every movie, I watch every single TV show. I'm really into that whole entertainment aspect, sports, lifestyle. So if I can kind of find a way to combine all of that, I always pictured myself as being like the next Kathy Lee and Hoda on NBC. I know Hoda's still there. Kathy Lee is retired, but I also always loved the people who got to go out to a draft or to like a premiere and kind of be a correspondent from there. So something that kind of blends, I think, all of the things that I'm passionate about and then I can speak about to some degree would be my dream job. So sorry if that's not really an answer, but that's just where I'm at today. Changes a little bit.
No, that's a good answer. I'll take that. I mean, I'm just thinking like imagining like you interviewing people on the red carpet or like being a sideline reporter going from there kind of thing.
Oh yeah. And I will say another big motivating factor for me to get into this business was being an athlete my whole life. And then as I got older, I'm in college and I swam Division I 4 years. I was great. I was by no means the best. My sister, on the other hand, I have a younger sister, and she was also a swimmer and she went to the Olympic trials twice.
That's awesome.
She never made the team, but she's definitely the athlete of the family. She's insane. Now she's into the CrossFit triathlon world. So that's where she's channeled her post-swimming energy. And when she was going through training for trials the first and the second time, like those 8 years, I'm like, I'm just getting started. I'm like, how cool would it be if I could be with NBC or whoever at the Olympics and like you made the team and I'm interviewing you after you finish your race and you're like bumping elbows with Michael Phelps and Ryan Lochte and all these guys. So that was cool. I mean, it would be great to go to the Olympics.
You must have just you must have just actually explained and personified the ultimate dream for your parents. Like to imagine just your one daughter interviewing your other daughter at the Olympics where she competed. Sounds like a parental dream come true.
Yeah. You're right. Probably.
One day, right? How old is your sister still in the age like she's like still trying out and stuff, or is she just fully towards CrossFit now?
She is, she's thrown in the swimming towel, pun intended, but she is she's full blown. I mean, she went to I always blank on the name. There's the CrossFit thing that's on TV. It's in Miami.
The only thing I know in Miami is just partying. I don't know the names.
Partying, yeah. Wadapalooza. It's called Wadapalooza. It's insane. I don't know why, but it's like a televised CrossFit competition, and she's gone
even that
down
sounds
there
like a party. Wadapalooza.
Yeah. Well, that's what she said. She's like, you go, you work out, you can get your hair braided, you get massages. They give you like Mick Ultras afterwards. Everybody parties together, and I am like, this sounds like a more low-key Olympics because there's not like a whole lot riding on it for your country.
Yeah.
You can just go, you can work out and like throw some flexes and be just like a crazy athlete and then let loose.
That sounds awesome. Also, how many times have you been to Miami before?
I've been to Miami 2 or 3 times.
Could you ever imagine actually going there and doing anything overall healthy? If you did it for your college teams.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
absolutely
no shot. Well, so I applaud her.
Yeah. But I guess that's why, those people are the athletes and then we're us because it's like they have this like laser focus. They're not thinking about that. Meanwhile, I'd be down there and I'm like, oh my God, I want to go to the club. I want to go lay on the beach and like drink rosé on a rooftop all day.
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
Here I am just working out.
Exactly. It's like, just give me a Corona and give me the beach. Yeah. I have to give myself a mini pump up every time I even do this. Forget trying to do CrossFit in Miami. What the heck?
My God, I know.
Jeez. Alex, you have been an awesome guest. Just to finish it up, I know you're not the biggest Knicks or basketball fan. What are your expectations for the NBA overall this year? Even if it's like you want to meet someone or anything like that.
Well, I will say what they did with the bubble was inspiring and I think great. So I know they have it in them to do wonderful things. I have to give my friend who works and she is like their finance person. You have to give her a shout out, Kate Nelson. I love you. I see how hard she works. And, I think it's a wonderful organization and she's somebody who has worked at the NHL and then went to the NBA. And I'm just like, no shade to the NHL, but the NBA is just such a tremendously, like they're set up for all the potential. And, it's what a business model. So I think that they can do great things in general. I hope for the sake of the area and for you guys and for Knicks fans that, this is going to be the best year yet.
I will take that. We haven't won since 73. So, I mean, I think the real win for Knicks fans was just watching the Nets fail again.
Yeah.
And
okay.
then,
If that, I can get on board with that for you guys. Cause like I said, I don't have any ties to anybody. So
I'll ask you for the winter sport that you do follow. What do you expect of the Devils this year?
Better than last year, hopefully. I mean, my expectations are low.
Like most other New York and New Jersey sports.
Yes. I can't think about them right now because I'm really nervous for the football season. I'm just super excited that we're back. I think the Eagles need to get going with Jalen Hurts. I mean, they need to, he's our guy.
Go Birds.
We saw it a little bit last year. Yeah, that's right. Go Birds. We saw it a little bit last year, and the first game was phenomenal. I mean, last week was whatever, but I think that it can be really good. And obviously, Devonta Smith, our Heisman guy.
Devonta Smith looks good, that's for sure. I have Jalen Reagor on a couple of my fantasy teams for some reason. I don't even know why. I'm hoping he shows up like the first overall pick he was last year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. I try to always put Eagles players on my fantasy roster. I don't have any this year, but I did actually. I'm like, I can't believe this, but I
was going to say, girl, as a Jet fan, I learned a long time ago, don't put your favorite team players on your roster.
I know. Well, yeah. And it's also it's because I was rooting for them anyway. So it's makes it easier for me to root for my fan. It's like a whole psychological thing. I'm very neurotic when it comes to fantasy. I think everybody is, but in their own way. And just now I have Ezekiel Elliott, but where I was in the draft, I needed to take him, or it was Saquon. I'm not taking Saquon.
No.
So I'm this is terrible. He played like shit.
Yeah.
So I'm great. Not only that,
and he's on your least favorite team. Exactly.
Yeah. So this is it's been really fun. I have Tom Brady as my quarterback, which is okay, it's less painful because he's in Tampa Bay, but still Tom Brady, and just I don't know. I respect him. I respect the hell out of him, but I'm ugh. So
and with her mentioning Tom Brady, Alex Lee, it's been awesome. Once again, this has been the Big Knick Energy Podcast. Check out our sponsor, Empire Original Designs, at jointheempire.com. The East Coast #1 challenge coin manufacturer, home of challenger coins, lapels, pins, patches, keychains, bottle openers, and more. Mention our podcast, Big Knick Energy, via email for 5% off purchases. Once again, that's jointheempire.com. I've been Joe Yolk. That's been Alex Lee. Let's go Knicks. Peace.